UCT's Research Contracts and Innovation Department wish you a happy World IP Day. The World IP organization leads the celebrations each year on 26 April, and this year the theme is IP and SMEs, taking your ideas to market. At UCT, spin-off companies are an important mode of commercializing the IP that comes from the university's research. In this short video, we will hear from Vice-Chancellor Professor Mamokgethi Phakeng about entrepreneurship and how it fits into UCT's Vision 2030, and the Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research and Internationalization, Professor Sue Harrison, regarding UCT's innovation funding environment that is supporting spin-off companies. We'll also be featuring a couple of our spin-off companies and telling you about how UCT graduates are not only creating jobs for themselves, but for other graduates as well.
The value of world-class research is not just in where it is published or cited, but in the effect it has on people's lives. Social impact is such a high priority at the University of Cape Town that we issue a Social Responsiveness Award each year to a researcher or team whose work has improved society. Our massive transformative statement for Vision 2030 is to unleash human potential to help create a fair and just society. Research helps to unleash that potential. So does technology transfer, because that is where research can translate into new medicines or products and services or technology or jobs. UCT is a proudly African university. We are committed not only to research, but to incubating African intellectual property to help solve African problems, as well as those that we share with the world. For example, finding medical uses for tobacco plants has led to a cheaper way of testing and treating COVID-19. Developing a mobile app that small-scale local fishers could use to market and manage their catches has not only helped raise their economic status, but has helped to build an environmentally sustainable seafood and catering industry. We are developing new ways of financing spin-off businesses so that researchers can focus on growing their ideas into marketable products and services that also meet real human needs. These spin-off businesses provide jobs for graduate students who can earn a living while they participate in product development. And in turn, they join the process of research to meet real needs on the ground. Creating this kind of entrepreneurial mindset is a critical part of higher education for change and resilience. UCT has invited staff and students across the institution to contribute their ideas for Vision 2030. Our commitment to leading the changes that the Fourth Industrial Revolution will bring is just that. We recognize that many of our graduates will work in the gig economy, doing a variety of jobs, leading with their skill sets and not according to the traditional model of their chosen profession. This means we need to train a new line of academics into a new way of thinking about their work. At the same time, we are helping our students to recognize the needs of their world and their communities and to start thinking as the future innovators who will develop solutions to meet those needs. UCT is the leading university on the African continent. We believe African creativity and resourcefulness can help solve the wicked problems we all share across the planet. We are managing the transfer of technology to create a strong entrepreneurial ecosystem, which will, in turn, affect how we manage the use of African intellectual property around the world.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to UCT. I'm Sue Harrison. I'm the Deputy Vice-Chancellor for Research and Internationalization, and our work in innovation and IP falls within my portfolio. The importance of translating our research is increasingly recognized in harnessing the contribution of academic research for society, the economy, and the environment. One aspect of this is the commercialization of know-how and IP built through such academic research. UCT, like many other higher education institutions, is faced with the challenge of limited funding for being available to support the commercialization of IP emanating from its research activities. To mitigate this, UCT has worked to build and interface with appropriate funding vehicles to enable this, building on and enlarging our earlier activities in innovation funding, enabled through both donor funding and UCT's own investment, and initiated through UCT's Evergreen Fund. In 2019, UCT established the Innovation Builder Fund to provide innovation funding of up to 500,000 Rand per project to mature the research project, its outputs, and ready them for translation. This has been very successful, filling a key need of our researchers, and 21 projects are currently active. In 2020, UCT became a founder special partner of South Africa's University Technology Fund, the first of its kind in Africa. This was established by the SA SME Fund. The University Technology Fund, or UTF, has brought another 11 million Rand of early stage funding to support UCT in its startups and its technology development. And it has earmarked 50 million Rand for further investment in UCT Ventures. UCT's own Evergreen Fund invests alongside the UTF in terms of the agreement, and during 2020, the UTF invested in 2 spin-off companies and 1 project that will ultimately become a spin-off company, all out of UCT. The Evergreen Fund, which acts as a very early stage venture fund, is also unique within Africa and follows the trends in Europe, the UK and the USA, where universities increasingly invest in their spin-off ventures. In 2004, there have been 27 spin-off companies from UCT, and 23 of these are still operational. While for a few of these there is limited activity for a whole variety of reasons, the remainder are busy building their businesses. UCT holds equity in 9 of these companies, either due to the assignment of IP to the company or due to the investment of the Evergreen Fund. While the university has yet to exit any of these companies and sell its equity, the equity is estimated to be worth over 100 million Rand. SMEs have proven to be key in economic development and job creation, particularly specialist and technical jobs that are critical to retain these specialists, developed and grown locally in South Africa for the realizing of the value of their inventions. At the end of 2020, RCNI appointed a new venture support manager, Nile Naidu. He is helping our deep technology companies to understand their markets, to automate their processes, to scale operations and to assemble teams. This, together with the innovation funding environment that has been established at UCT, is anticipated to increase the number of spin-off companies that will leave the university in coming years, and through this generate enhanced local opportunity and value for the university, for the region, and for the nation. Thank you.
Westgrow, the official tourism, trade and investment promotion agency for Cape Town and the Western Cape, has featured 2 of UCT's spin-off companies, Cape Ray and Cape Biofarms, in their first edition of the Cape Health Tech magazine. In this video, we will feature 2 of the excerpts that they recorded.
Having access to really good students, really good staff, the institutions that we work with here, hospitals like Groote Red Cross hospitals, I think those are all real positives that we can be proud of here in the Western Cape and that we can build on as we start to put our name on the map, so to speak.
So here at Cape Biofarms, we produce recombinant proteins in plants. We find DNA sequences online. We convert them into physical DNA. We then clone them into bacteria. And then we dunk the plants into the bacteria and they produce the protein for us.
So it's a really exciting technology and it's also quite disruptive. We built this facility for about 1/10 of the cost of a traditional expression platform, and we can also produce our proteins a lot cheaper and a lot faster. The Western Cape is the only place to be. This is going to be the biotech hub of the Southern Hemisphere. There are so many fascinating new biotech industries and companies. There's a huge amount of effort going to support biotech companies. There's a lot of facilitating of collaboration.
It is becoming the next Silicon Valley for biotech.
Hello and happy World IP Day. The bulk of IP licensing activity at UCT is actually with a number of our spin-off companies who are located in close proximity to campus, and this is certainly a trend that's noticed in the USA too. Of importance, though, to South Africa and the Western Cape is the fact that these companies are helping to retain skills by creating positions for recent graduates, along with other jobs and supply chains. As an engineering graduate from UCT, I would have loved to have been able to find a job so that I could continue living in Cape Town, but engineers typically didn't at that time. I think that SA Breweries, Olsen Brewery and Newlands was inundated with CVs. But since coming back to UCT in my role in the Tech Transfer Office, it's been exciting to see how the medical device sector in particular has emerged and gained strength. Probably our greatest medical device success story to date is Straight Access Technologies, or SAT. Founded in 2008 by Profs Peter Ziller and Dion Bezuidenhout. It currently employs over 60 people, mostly engineers, and many who are actually graduates of UCT. Their focus is on creating intelligent surgical solutions for the treatment of rheumatic heart disease in emerging economies throughout Africa, which is considered to be the epicenter of this condition. These products include polymer heart valves and devices to deploy them without the need for advanced imaging. Heather Coombs, a chemical engineering graduate of UCT, is the Chief Operating Officer of the company and has been actively driving things forward with the company for the past 8 years. At the other end of the spectrum, Cape Biopharms and Impulse Biomedical are both freshly established startups younger than 3 years old. Despite their recent entry onto the startup scene and the curveballs thrown by the coronavirus and subsequent lockdowns, both have experienced major growth in their staff contingent during that period. Cape Biopharms manufactures proteins using modified plants in the tobacco family, and the plants are grown hydroponically, and a range of proteins are produced as lab reagents and diagnostics. If anything, the coronavirus seemed to offer the Cape Biopharms team something of a boost, as they basically just changed direction using the same sort of methods that they did for antibodies, but now directing them towards coronavirus proteins. They've pivoted to produce the proteins used in the COVID-19 detection kits, and the company has raised just short of R1 billion in foreign funding to expand the production capacity in a new subsidiary. With the expansion, their team has grown to over 30 people, and many of the technical staff came from the biofarming research unit in molecular and cell biology at UCT. This is really an ideal situation where you have a world-leading UCT research unit producing new IP and creating a pipeline of products for a spin-off company like Cape Biopharms. Impulse Biomedical co-founders Gokul Nair and Giancarlo Bierkes both have master's degrees in biomedical engineering, and their companies are currently developing two different products. Firstly, the ZB pen, an adrenaline auto-injector for the treatment of anaphylaxis, and secondly, Easy Squeezy, which is an assistive device that dramatically reduces the force needed to activate an asthma pump, something important for children or the elderly. The two medical devices were developed during MSc research in Prof. Sudesh Sivarasu's group at UCT, and a research contracts and innovation subsequently assisted with the patenting. These patents are currently being licensed to the company. The company has fundraised successfully, leveraging private equity investment using the Department of Trade and Industry as THRIP funding, and they've also recently announced that the VC Future Growth has invested in the company. In establishing the company, they effectively created permanent jobs for themselves, but also now for an increasing number of graduates across a range of disciplines. At RC&I, we expanded our team to better support the founders of the companies that are being formed to commercialize so-called deep tech. deep science, which tends to be very different to the ICT tech space, and we look forward to supporting you.